technology.
All right. All right. Hey guys, it's Jason with Kentucky Sustainable Living. It is Monday after the festival. We're picking up, cleaning up, and Erin T Scott stuck around to do a quick interview with us. We had an awesome time at the festival. If you were not here, we're going to have another one in March. We'll release the dates on our website at KentuckySustainableLiving.com. But Erin's going to talk to us a little bit about, as far as homesteading, why you should be doing some of this and why you should be growing your own food. As far as the two big points we're going to kind of hit on and try to stay on target with is the financial part of it, and then also about the quality of the food that you're going to raise. You're not going to be throwing pesticides. You're not going to be throwing hormones, antibiotics, and all this other crap that you get from the store. That's two of the big reasons that you should. Part of it is more freedom, and you can kind of do what you want to. But Erin, talk if you want to do the financial part, or you want to do the toxicity part first.
I'll just let it flow. But first off, I want to thank you for inviting me. As I state, I serve God.
Yes.
Meaning I serve the church, which means I serve you. And the whole purpose of me coming here was to give of my heart and my knowledge to as many people as I can, so that I can enlighten, enrich, and greaten the people's lives that cross my path. That is how I serve. Any way I can make people's lives better, I wish to. And in doing so, I had to learn. I had to learn a lot about this world, and as a lot of people got a taste of this weekend, and you'll have the video up on your channel, there is a big jug of red pills that I throw out there, and I didn't even get nowhere near what I would love to have shared, but there are some things that will pop some neural connections there.
There's a lot of drinking from a fire hose this weekend.
Yes, it was, and if you're a snowflake, don't go into that video because it will melt you. I'm serious, but you wanted to stay specific on this because this is a very big driving factor. Let me premise what we're going to say with a few comments here. First, you got to know what you are. You are a spiritual entity. Okay, you are vibration and frequency, and there are lots of vibrations and frequencies out there, and that's loud. I hope it ain't messing up the.
We can't do anything with it. Hopefully we'll be out there.
Yeah, give him a second. I don't know if this is going to overrun it. There's a lawnmower or something out there. There he goes. He's going. Give him a second. Sorry, take a break. You know, life goes on. Life goes on.
They're still unloading everything, equipment and everything else from the festival.
Yeah, they're unpacking. So, until you know what you are, you can't make the proper decisions. And that was the premise of a lot of what I said. So you've got to know that you are vibrational energy. Now, once you understand that, there are many of us are starting to understand that things aren't right in this world, and that there is a battle and a war. The one thing that I got an overwhelming yes, I agree, because I asked a lot of questions and I had people raise hands so I could see what people are educating themselves with, and that is everybody seemed to agree that we are at war, but it's not the war in Ukraine. It's not the war in the Eastern Mediterranean. That's not it. We're at a war between good and evil. And that evil has the technologies to use against us so that they can raise their hands up and say, hey, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. We didn't do it. I mean, because it's not a face-to-face kinetic energy with gunpowder and stuff like we're accustomed to. So this is a different war. And one of those wars, one of those weapons that are used against us is the quality of our food. Because if we put bad stuff in us, we can't resonate and vibrate in a healthy, high vibrational way. So we need the best qualities of food. So there's two aspects that you want to talk about. So the primary one is really simple. The quality of our food has been degraded so poorly over the last 50, 60, 70 years that the machines that God created, our bodies, cannot function properly. And we have toxicity in us in ways that we can't even comprehend yet, because the information and knowledge about these vibrational food weapons that are being used against us, and there's all those. Some of you are aware of the stuff that's in the air that comes down through the sky, stuff that's in the water. All of these things are an attack on our spiritual energy. It is to degrade it. You know, the fluoride in the water, you can go on and on and on about all the different attacks, but the only way that you take control of that is to start to change what you put in, because you are what you eat. And if you don't eat good, your quality of life is not going to be very high.
Well,
So
I eat like trash this weekend. I mean, cookies, everything else, and I felt like crap. And I'm like,
yep. And we grow, me and my partner, we grow the majority of our food. We're not perfect on it. You know, this is a journey. You're going to take little steps at a time, as you were saying before we got started. You're not going to get there. It is too hard, and it becomes overwhelming if you see the big picture and you know where you're at and you're going, oh my God, I can never reach that. That is a load of hooey. Each and every one of you are going to be able to reach it, and you're going to have to be able to get through the next few years that are coming. It's not only the stuff that we've seen happening, like the roll up your sleever thing and all that stuff. You need to be as healthy as possible to be able to handle the absolute chaos that is about to ensue around the world. It's already begun. You've seen it. I don't need to prove it to you. You know it's there. But the most powerful thing that you can do is start cleaning up what you put into you. And that's with all the classes that we've had, okay, about soil, health of soil, the production of foods, meats, how you process it so that you know that the animals that you get aren't full of hormones and pesticides and herbicides, things like that. That's what this is all about, is learning that cycle of energy that you put into you. That's the first aspect. That's in a nutshell.
Yeah.
The second aspect is when with my discussion, you know, I talked in that discussion about the primary way that the power elite of this planet control us. And they do it through the medium of exchange, or the pipeline of energy, which we refer to as money. None of us use money. You use debt. Debt is slavery per Satan. Okay, this is biblical. Go look it up for yourself. Usury, the one thing that Christ got mad and pissed off and turned the tables over, the only thing that you've seen him blow up in the Bible was how mad he was at interest. Interest rates and stuff like that. The interest rates are going up. That shuts down the economy. But it is the control of what you think of money or debt, currency notes, which is what is controlling the quality of our lives, because if they can reduce our ability to buy things for the things that we can't do. So I grow most of it, but I can't do grain, and because for one, I'm still looking for a new homestead because we're doing some levering up. And two, dairy milks and cheeses. Those are big ones for me. I love.
No salt mine. You don't have a salt mine.
I don't have a salt mine. I don't have cinnamon trees growing. So we do buy the basics. We buy salt, pepper, and we stock up on those things. But the basics, and then we choose our own recipes for baking and cooking and stuff from the old school. We go back into old recipe books because we've noticed, even my partner, Betty Crocker's books. I had an old one, and it started getting worn out because it had that little cheap plastic thing so that you could go buy a new one because it was going to wear out. You know how they design failure into everything. Well, guess what? That's what I did. We went to go get a new one, and we started looking it up, and with just in a few years, they've changed all the recipes. Instead of making gravy from scratch, they say, oh, go get a can of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup, stuff like that. They say, mix this can and this can, and that's how you cook, right?
Yeah.
No, that's not how you cook.
And you're talking that right now, a lot of people that are 100%, 100% on the store-bought stuff. You can do, and you're never going to be 100% because, like you said, you don't have a salt mine, you don't have cinnamon tree.
So you have to stop on some basics.
Take those steps. I mean, today you could be at 10. You could take 10% off that today. and be 10% less reliant on the system.
Yeah.
And then
and
just
buy in bulk.
Yeah.
Buy in bulk. Do what the big boys do. When that's how they get power, is they are able to negotiate for lower and lower costs for their end because they can buy it by the truckload, whereas you're buying this tiny little bit that's divided up into a packaging and all of that energy that goes into bringing you just what you need for that meal. So buy things in bulk. But let's go back to the financial end of it, because this is one of the hard things. Is even if you find some good products, and there are a few companies out there very organic-ish. You can't get it super organic or higher level organic until you're doing it yourself, and doing your own garden and whatnot. I mean, but because we're so toxic in this world, it's hard to get purely organic stuff. There's only a few places in the world that the elite go to because they've not attacked those areas so bad. But money, finance, I want to stay on target here because this is the one that's going to hurt you the worst. Okay, prepping is one thing. Stocking up on food is one thing because that gives you a buffer between now and the time that you can produce it yourself. But eventually you're going to have to produce it yourself. And the problem we're going to have is most of you have already experienced the beginning phases of the hyperinflation event. And what does that mean? In order to control things, they print money out of thin air, which has no value. And there's some aspects of that I'm not going to get into it here. But the point of this is, if you do a little research, you'll see that a lot of the other countries around the world are already in hyperinflation, and it's a mathematical thing of the amount of money that they're printing. There's plenty of information out there on the internet to help you understand the math in money printing, okay? Ask the Venezuelans. We watched them in 13, 14, 15 go from where their dollar was, or their bolivar was almost 1-to-1 with our dollar. Now, in Venezuela, or like Zimbabwe, or what happened in Weimar, Germany 100 years ago, because of the volume of dollars that are being printed, it now takes them out. It was 10, 20,000 bolivar just for a few eggs. It doesn't have any value. So you've been programmed, like we all have, to believe that, oh, that thing's getting more expensive. Look at how expensive that thing. No. Those things have value, and those values will always be the same. What does not have the same value is the current Federal Reserve note, or what you call the dollar, or the digit on this screen that you see in your bank account. Now, I would recommend that you get into some monetary metals, either gold and silver, to help protect your purchasing power. But if for some reason or another you're on a fixed income and you really don't see it in your wherewithal to do that, then this is another reason for why you want to grow and produce your own food, because for all portions of a penny, you can get seeds, and those seeds will produce pounds of food healthier for you, and then you won't have to worry about whether or not you have currency units or gold or silver. When you produce your own food, you are, as I explained in my discussion, you are removing counterparty risks. And for those who don't understand that term, let me hit it real quick. Anytime two people come together, I have this and you have that, we're going to make an agreement between us that we're going to exchange the things that we want for each other, commonly referred to as barter, trading, or buying. Buying is commercial. We barter and trade. So the counterparty risk is we make our agreement and then you don't perform to that contract. So you're the counterparty to me, I'm the counterparty to you, and that contract failing is the risk that we enter into. So like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, any financial instrument has counterparty risk. But what people don't understand is that risk also is in everything else that you leave your property for, go buy, and then bring back. Things that you don't produce There's the counterparty risk. Now, you've all had the clues. Everybody's gotten it. Your eyes should be open because of what happened during the roll up your sleeve and get the jabber thingy. And that was when they shut down by force, unlawfully, all the businesses, especially the small ones, not the big corporations. No, not our buddies in the club. Walmart's will stay open. When they did that, you saw shelves run dry. That's going to come again real soon, real quick. And I'm thinking between now and Christmas, you might see some big, big issues coming. So counterparty risk of having these things that you depend on, the power, the water, the food, all the things that you cannot provide for yourself, you have counterparty risk in. So when it comes to your food, because that's what you wanted to focus on, there's no reason, there's no argument you can give me of why you can't attempt to create and produce from God's growth some form of food for yourself to reduce the impacts of, one, the toxicity of the attacks of everything that's put into the cans and boxes that are in the grocery stores, and the financial attacks that we're getting of the devaluation of our currency, the current of the sea. Because these are pirates, my friends, and that's a whole different topic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, we could go down that. Learn law. Learn law. Read, educate law. But become self-sufficient. Become sustainable.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the point. It's in our blood for those of us who were born in this country, and our parents and grandparents were born in this country. Okay? We founded this country by people who wanted that sovereignty. They wanted to be on a piece of land by themselves. Our founding fathers set it up that way. They did it through patents on land when we got land here through the public land systems. I was a surveyor. I kind of know a little bit about this. And then they slowly took it away. Little by little by little, generation after generation, they take a bit, and they take a bit, and they take a bit, and then finally we're looking at ourselves, well, we ain't got our labor anymore. It's been devalued to nothing. We don't have good quality food anymore, and we need to grab it back and pull in those reins and say, whoa, we need to do this for ourselves. So they're going to do it through the monetary system. What's coming, the next wave of inflation, is going to shock people. But I promise you, the government's going to come in and look like a savior. They're going to print more money, and they'll give you they'll raise your food stamps. They'll raise your Section 8. They'll raise it a bit, but not enough to meet the rate of inflation. And that is, if you ever went through math, for those of you who did algebraic equations and you did the XY function and you plotted graphs, you remember that? Goes along slow, and then all of a sudden it starts to turn, and then it shoots vertical. Okay? We are in the point where we're about ready to go vertical in hyperinflation of your currency units. Okay? Not money. Money is gold and silver. It's in the Constitution. Article 1, Section 10. No state shall make anything other than gold and silver payable in tender of debt. Guess who is committing the fraud? The states are. Okay? So your money's going to die. And we're going to take a few hits over the next few years of major devaluations. This next step is going to be extraordinarily painful, but there will be food lines. Well, there already are. The food lines have been here for a long time because why do they have food stamp cards? That's their way of hiding it. You got this little card and you feel, oh, I got my food and whatnot. You go to the grocery store.
Looks just like a debit card.
Yeah, it looks like so it's all hidden.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have your emotions hurt, and you don't have to be responsible with weight on your shoulders of your own food production.
And and people are looking at it with the hyperinflation and stuff like that, and they're like, I want to grow my own food, but then the problem I see, a lot of people get real bougie with it, and they're like, well, I can't afford a greenhouse. I can't afford to go buy all these garden tools. I can't afford this. Erin, you were out at my place on Friday. I've got stinking tomatoes that came up because I threw a tomato out.
And seeds. I love that. They're called them volunteers.
So
they're volunteering to grow for us.
Yeah, I've got that. The only thing it cost me was going out there and putting a stake in the ground and tying it off.
Just to get it up off the ground so that the food wouldn't be hit by the insects that crawl on the ground as quickly.
Yeah, and then I've got some that I was like, I'm not putting a stake in it, screw it, and they're
all open. You still get food off them.
Yeah, so it's crazy that everybody looks at it as like you've got to be all bougie and Pinterest. They want the Pinterest garden.
They want the picturesque everything.
Yeah,
no, so
stick some seeds in the ground and
no, well, hold on. It's not just that. It's not just that. So when we were in Montana and we were preaching this to people, there were a lot of people that we knew that lived in apartments, because at that point in time we hadn't gotten out of the city ourselves when we first got together and when I had moved to Montana, and we were having people learn how to do planter box gardens indoors and grow stuff year round in a window, whatever. They had just the smallest amount. For one, it brings the plant inside and helps put oxygen in there for you to breathe. And two, you get a little bit of food. Now, it's not great, but it's the first step for some people. We had people that would say, "Oh, I don't have land," because a lot of us didn't. When my partner and I, we first got together, we had to go get a community garden plot that was 20 by 20. And we put away a huge amount of food out of that little 20 by 20 space. It's amazing what you can do. Now, we did some math, we figured out some calculations, and we said, all right, if you're in a metropolitan complex or a city, first off, I would not recommend doing that, but we're all where we're at some point. I would say, see if there's a community garden, because we've determined that a person could produce over 75% of their annual food in a 20 by 20 plot, almost 100. Now, things like salts and sugars and flours and stuff, you can't do that. But you can produce a lot of food in a small area. So you start small. If you're dense in a city, put up on your patio or whatever, as many pots as will fit on there with all the different kinds of vegetables that you can grow, because that's the first step. So I had the opportunity in 2010 to go to the Far East. So I flew through and went through Japan, and I went to Thailand and saw some places down there. And you go in, when you fly into Thailand, there's these massive housing complexes that look like big apartment buildings like we have around here. It's a huge difference in what you saw over there. You go over there, every balcony was just draped with green stuff, so the damn thing looked like a freaking 200-foot tree or bush or whatever. It was just packed. These people were growing their own food on their patios. Why don't we do it?
Well, think about how much pot people grow in basements.
Yeah, those folks know how to grow some stuff. I'm telling you what, for the addiction of that chemical vibration and the way it makes them feel.
Yeah.
If they ate healthier, they might feel like that all the time anyway.
Well,
but they get so crazy in what they grow.
Yeah, if the guy's like, I'm gonna quit growing pot and I'm gonna grow tomatoes, think how many tomatoes he could grow in his basement with his grow set up. And it's people that they don't think about that, and they're like, yeah, I don't have the land. Get some grow bags. Grow bags are dirt cheap.
These people are, so there are folks. I mean, this is growing, and you go on YouTube. As much as I hate their control mechanisms, there's still people out there on YouTube. They're putting out some good information. There's some folks in Washington and Oregon. I can't remember. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I've seen this. That living in a house in the city, and they have a nice big basement. And in that big basement, they do microgreens. They turned it into $100,000 a year business, producing microgreens in a basement for all the local restaurants. Don't tell me you can't. Don't. There is no excuse. And I told you I'm gonna be hard, but we will stay on these topics because there's some wormholes and rabbit holes we could go down to.
Yeah.
But the point is this: the whole idea is to motivate people to become as self-sustaining as possible, and the best way to do that is with food. The global elite, the power psychopaths know this, and they have tested us. And one big example is y'all might remember the almost a decade ago now, it's been in, I think it was 2013, they called it the Arab Spring, okay? And they said news, it's all propaganda, they said it was for other reasons. But the reason, the true reason that people broke down in civil order and there was such a mass uprising was food. They shut off the food. They wanted to see at what point in time would people actually, because here's the thing, the reason most of us shut up and sit down is because they got a free card that lets them go eat.
Isn't it, and I've seen it before, once your food gets to a certain percentage of your monthly income,
That's when
that's when the uprisings start.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw where somebody had gone back historically and looked at that once it reaches X percent of your monthly income, that's when the populace.
It's the math. They know that. It's all about the math and the function of how much of your labor can they steal from you before you absolutely grab your pitchfork and go after the king or queen. Okay? It's real simple. They know this. They test us and test us and test us. But you have the power. We all have the power to make the decision and the choice of, I am going to take a piece of my freedom back by putting the best thing in my body that I can so that I can be healthy and that I can have a longer life, not die like most of the sick people in this country do at a very young age. Set aside some.
Unless you hit on living longer in the healthy part. Let's go in and jump on the other rail and talk about the health benefits and how much better the food that we're raising is compared to what you're going to go buy at Walmart.
All right,
we had a dinner Friday night at my house. We ate beef that I had raised on my farm and processed on my farm. That beef never left the farm. No hormones, no antibiotics, none of the crap. That animal ate grass and hay and a little bit of grain just to keep them walking around where you wanted them. We had pork belly candy. That pig was raised on Shelley's farm.
Did Billy get some of that?
He wouldn't have come down if he didn't get it. So he stayed all weekend, so he got it.
Yeah,
If
good. Because I had some. I looked in there and there was not much left.
Yeah.
I'm saying, oh, Billy might not have a.
Yeah, but
so that was some interesting stuff. I've never had that.
And that pig was raised on Shelley's farm. No antibiotics, none of that crap.
Yeah.
And it never left her place. The only time that meat left her place was to come to my place.
Cool. So let me premise this aspect. It'd be nice if he left. I can't hear myself. I don't know what they can pick up, but anyway, let me premise it with this. The recipe is this. It's getting louder. Yeah. Hang on, folks. All right, they're going out.
It's a boy moving the shed.
Yeah, one of the displays, they got a tractor in pulling it out of the main arena, so they're dragging a there goes a shed.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's life. This is what happens. It's happened to me in my videos. It happens. So bear with us. So let me premise it with this. You want to know the recipe, okay? God created the perfect machine, our bodies. Why are we having so many problems? Well, the system would have you believe that health comes from outside. But health comes from within, from what you put into you, okay? So, if God created the perfect machine, then why are you putting antifreeze in your oil in your antifreeze, sawdust or sand or sugar in your gas, or sand or sawdust into your carburetor? or you're not even putting the right fuel in, you wonder why you're not running properly. It's because we've trashed ourselves. We've treated ourselves, we have high performance machines. We all can be Indy 500 cars, but we turn ourselves into jalopies, for lack of better terms, because of it. So the recipe is real simple. You want to eat highly mineralized vegetables, because these cute little pills that you get at the Wally World that say mineral this, vitamin this, all that becomes as extraordinarily expensive pee, okay? Because your body doesn't have the ability to absorb it, okay? You were designed to get those minerals through the enzymes of the plant, okay? That's what's gonna make you healthy, is eating the plants with it in it. So that you need the natural soil, okay? You need the natural soil that has the minerals in it. And I didn't get to see the soil building class. Did they mention anything about adding minerals? Do you know?
I didn't watch all of it. I was recording and
You went off.
I was putting fires off.
All right, so yes, you have to have the right biome, the right microorganisms, the right nutrition for the plants, and that includes the stuff that you need, which is the mineralized. So you want to put highly mineralized plants into you, or animals that eat highly mineralized plants. And that's why you've probably also heard that we have over-farmed our soils, and we have robbed the top 8 inches of our soil of all the mineralization, and that's why all the stuff that you get at the grocery store is nothing but big sacks of water, because it does not have the mineralizations, because those are the keys that unlock the functions of your cellular work. Okay, that's the first aspect. Please refresh my memory on the question so I can finish it.
As far as the health benefits, and not essentially like spraying pesticides.
Well, those are
herbicides,
toxins.
all that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so on the other end of that, so that's what you want to put in. What happens when you put into your body toxic things like glyphosates? Your body doesn't know how to deal with those things, so it does the best thing that it knows how to, and it protects itself by taking and surrounding that toxin with fat molecules to prevent it from coming in contact with the other cellular structure of your working organs, and then it packs it the only place it can, which is in different places on your body. Why is America the plumpest country in the world? You tell me, how do you feel? So if you don't like it, now that you know, it is incumbent upon you to make the change for you, because only you can change your own world. Nobody else is going to do it for you. What is the saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. We're leading you to that. I'm giving the basics, the recipes, how things work, and the whys. The whys are real simple. You must reduce the toxicity the best you can. And then you must change the quality of what you consume. And then protect yourself from somebody else's counterparty risk of them being able to perform in bringing you that. You don't need it anymore. And when you free up those stored energies of labor in the funds of either the Federal Reserve notes or gold or silver, whatever you store your labor in, then if you save that, then you don't face the monetary attack that's been going on us for over 100 years. So,
and that goes in as far as the healthier animals and stuff like that. You see so many people that have their animals and they're worming them on a constant basis.
Putting chemicals in them.
Yeah, and they don't understand that, yeah, they're worming these animals and they're going to take care of the worms that they don't want.
But you're
you're killing the earthworms. And it's like Billy's talked about, the earthworm in the soil world is the king of the jungle. And it's weird to think that earthworm is the big predator.
Yeah.
They're eating all the stuff, the unuseful bacteria and fungi and stuff like that in the soil to keep the good stuff going. And I watched Greg Judy. He came out and was looking in a cow pile in one of his fields. The dung beetles had come up and started eating all that and breaking that down.
Yep.
But if you're starting to put chemicals on there, it's killing just everything.
Yep.
And that, and like one of my friends, he was over one day this summer, and we were out in our food forest. And his daughters, I told him, I said, if y'all want to pick some strawberries, eat them. I was like, pick them and eat them.
Yeah.
So the kids were picking it, and they're like, Dad, we need to go inside and wash these off. And I'm like, unless a bird crapped on it, you don't have to wash it off. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, there's nothing been sprayed down here.
There's nothing greater than going out into a garden and grabbing a tomato and eating it like an apple.
Yeah, there's no sprays or anything like that. It blew his mind. He's like, you're not down here spraying chemicals and doing all this, but you've got all this great fruit. I was like, the only thing that's been sprayed on here is water.
So I'll tell you a little story that we went through, and I was telling a young lady this story about putting the mineralization into the soil. We recommend, and there's a couple of products that you can get out there, but the ones we use are Bloomin' Minerals from a company called Longevity. Longevity is a company that tries to produce products that are far more healthier. Not all of the companies out there are bad. Most, not all. And Longevity produces a product called Blooming Minerals. Go order it. It's about right now. The price has gone up for a 40-pound bag. It's about 120 shipped or something like that. So we learned this recipe about a decade ago, and we started adding it to our potting mix that we were starting our plants with. And then when we moved them into the garden, then that would get into the soil, and we'd go direct that way, as opposed to just broadcasting. And I've done broadcasting as well, but we're doing a market up in Montana, and you get to have very intimate conversations with people and relations and build community and stuff. And you get the positive and the negative. I mean, we'd run into people that would complain, well, I can buy this cheaper at Walmart. We're like, fine, sure, go right ahead, but you're not getting the same product. Yeah. The people who were buying our product, they were taking it home and eating it and coming back and reporting to us, and we didn't ask them for it. They came back to us and said, this is the best tasting fill in the blank that we've ever eaten. Why? The minerals build the flavors in their enzymes. That's what creates the pleasure of eating them. I mean, most of you go out there and buy a thing of ketchup, and all it is tomato juice and high fructose corn syrup. Yep. That's it. If you saw my recipe and tasted my ketchup, I doubt you'd ever buy another thing of Hunt's or whatever. It is incredible, the flavor difference, because we are attracted to things through our senses, and one of those senses is taste, and it's the flavonoids that are within products that hit our tongue, and we go, oh wow, and that's the thing. So
less processed foods too.
Yeah,
the less processed foods, because the more chemicals they're putting in these foods, the sicker and the more inflammation and all that. It's kind of designed to keep you sick. Mm-hmm. And when you start eating different stuff, I've done carnivore, and I was amazed at how much better I felt.
Just straight meat.
Just straight meat, butter, water, and salt, and that was it. And
if the animal that you're eating has a chance to eat highly mineralized vegetables,
and this 90% of what I was eating was stuff that we had raised.
Yeah, they're grass fed kind of things.
And I felt great. There was no back pain. Lost a lot of weight, and none of the inflammation and back pain. I'm a contractor. Mm-hmm. Your knees hurt every stinking day.
Trust me, I know. When we built our homestead, we didn't have it on camera as much, but oh my God, I did some stupid things to my back, picking up big ass oak logs. I mean, I'm going, oh my God,
getting the processed stuff out. That's one of the nice things I like about it. Is you don't eat all that ketchup, just like you're talking. And ketchup is tomatoes and high fructose corn syrup. And I'm like, that stuff's crap. I'm not going to eat that.
Yep.
So, we're probably coming down. You probably need to start getting back, don't you?
It's going to be a rainy trip the whole way. But yeah, it would be.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I'm going to summarize, and you're going to put up online on the website all the videos of the stuff that happened. We're giving it away for free.
We've got to do a lot. We've got to edit some of the stuff for the videos. So I'm thinking within the next week or two, we won't do the fire hose thing. And here's 20 videos of everybody, because
Yeah.
They won't get watched, but we'll shoot one out like every other day, something
Yeah.
like that.
Dive into it.
Plus, I've got 200 and something pounds of pig meat that I've got to finish.
Yeah, you got to work on that too.
Yeah.
So dig into the information when you get a chance, and when you get it put up, because only we can change the world around us. We've let them destroy it, and then we're going to have to rebuild it. Okay. So, and we're gonna do it slowly, step by step, but understand that everything that that we've been told is a lie. And the biggest lie, the hardest lie, the one that people don't want to accept is responsibility for themselves and the fact that you have more power because God created you in His image. And that meant to be godly. And, I touched on a few of the power issues that we have, but if you know that we are energy and you know that the majority of weapons that are used against us are energetic in some form, as we said, and it got kind of emotional, on Saturday night, but it is about getting out of the system, because the system is designed to feed off. I mean, The Matrix. Go watch the movies, The Matrix. If you haven't seen it, they do turn us into a battery. Okay, they want to pull the power out of us, and everybody should get boiling mad at the things that are being done to us. And because of the control system that we have, there is only one thing that is in our control that we can do, hopefully with less fear than the front-on dealing with the issue that I've done, and it doesn't work out too well, is to change those little things that we do. And growing food is the easiest darn thing that you can do. It's not that hard. Those are the basics. Like I said in my talk, all these little skills, those are the basics.
Yeah.
The real good stuff is once you get that and you clean the negative toxicity out of your system and you bring your body up to a much higher vibration, then the possibilities for right point blank becoming Jedi Knights, to have powers of that nature, are there for us. They exist, and we can become our highest, best selves. So that's what I want. I want you to become your highest, best self, because it is in my best interest. It is in your best interest. It is in our best interest to become our highest, best selves. And we've got a lot of trash we're going to have to clean up. We got a lot of bad thoughts, bad ideas, bad understandings that we're going to have to get over. And it is our responsibility to do that.
Do we get a lightsaber once we get Jedi? Because if
Hopefully.
we're doing that, I'm going to start working harder. I want a lightsaber.
Well, they make them.
Oh, I know. But I want like the real.
And for fun, the real powerful stuff is the stuff that Tesla came up with.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be your mind's about to be blown. We are in Revelations, and a lot of the knowledges are coming out. Some of the real powers of anti-gravity or gravity forces, because that's what we are. We're electric.
Yeah.
Okay, we're frequency. We're energy. In the functions of electricity is magnetism. Yeah. You're seeing it like with the new neodymium magnets, how powerful they are, that kind of thing. Well, anti-gravity. The need for petroleum-based products are really not there. The power that we're going to be I don't want to say it's free, because something you have to put effort in some form or fashion, but the knowledge about how to be near free energy, where we don't have to be taxed through our electric bills and things like that. Right now, there's some solar and some off-grid where you have to buy some equipment, but then you have it, and then you shut off that monthly payment where they're constantly draining you of your energy. Yeah. Those kinds of things are coming. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. But the hard part is because we are in the end game, these attacks are going to get harder and worse and more crazy, because they have some really powerful technologies they're going to use against us. And the thing about it is, because you are spiritual electric energy, you need to be able to transmit and receive high frequencies. That's what this thing does, kind of like a radio or cell phone. And what they have done is re-engineered our bodies become antennas to receive lower frequencies that are pulling us down, both in our health and our digestion. By eating better, you cleanse out the heavy metals, the aluminum, the barium, the strontium that are in our systems because of what's up there and what goes in here. These are the reasons why, and now we're getting into a little bit more of the rabbit holes.
Yeah,
but
we're getting down some dark rabbit, some
Yeah.
deep rabbit holes.
But the point is, these are the things that are going to happen, and these have been happening for a long time. So we want to take control of that back into our hands because we're the ones who have the power to do so.
And don't freak out. I mean, we've gotten into some deep stuff. And I wanted to kind of, and still we've gotten into some deep stuff, but we just scratched the surface on it. But when you watch this video, don't freak out and go, oh my God, I've got to do this, and this, or I'm going to die tomorrow.
No.
Take the baby steps and do it. That's the best thing. Everybody has to start from square one. And you're not going to get as far as Erin's got or as far as I've got overnight.
It's taken me years. This is a journey. We're all on a journey. It's the spiritual journey. The journey is to awaken. So problem is things are getting rougher and tougher. So our time is much shorter to awaken. So that's why I'm so motivated to say, hey, come on, get up out of bed. Let's go plant some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go plant some stuff.
And we're going to get killed. They're loading all the equipment out.
All right, so thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate it. I'm glad you and T came down. It was a whirlwind weekend, and I wished this thing could last for a week. But we'd be freaking dead.
I don't know. Because I dump out so much energy. I mean, I'm throwing to you knowledge energy, and it you know, I gotta go charge up my battery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Erin, tell everybody where they can find you on YouTube.
I have a YouTube channel. It's the real Erin T Scott because they took down the Erin T Scott. So, and the way they did it was hard. There's only a specific entity that could have done it the way they did it. Yeah. That's why I said the real, to kind of give you okay, you know. Yeah. I don't post a lot of videos now because, you know, I've done some battling here and I've needed to heal and regain my focus. My focus is my thoughts and what I'm trying to manifest into my life. And we need to do that from time to time. So I'm not putting up a lot of videos, but when I do, you know, I check the comments and I read every one of them. Man, occasionally, if you go back into a video, you know, 3 or 4 years ago and leave a comment down in a string, I don't get notified for that, so I may not see those. But new comments on the newest videos, I respond to them all. And in the information, where, you know, under the videos where it says more, is my email address. That's Heritage Homestead Creations at proton.me, right, ME. I can get emailed there. That you can find the email address there if you don't hear this properly. You can go that way to do it. And then I also have another YouTube channel, which is Heritage Homestead Creations. But that one, because I was talking about the truth bombs, I had a lot of problems with that. They got me strikes, demonetized and all that, and they took down my first channel. So I don't do as much there anymore because there's still guys that are doing it, and they're doing it on other platforms of BitChute and Rumble and so on and so forth. And you know, I don't need to do it for that much. People saw, people heard. I've hit a huge amount of people. So my Heritage Homestead Creations is just for my creations, the things I like to share, because my passion is woodworking. I like to make things. So there you go.
Oh yeah. All right, Erin, I appreciate it a bunch, guys. Go check her YouTube channel out. If you need anything, all her contact info to get a hold of her is there on her YouTube channel. And we had a super fun weekend. Videos will be coming out. We'll get a few this week and figure it all out. I've still got a day's work cleaning everything up. But guys, we appreciate it, Erin. I appreciate you coming and taking the time to come to us.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all, guys.